Welcome to Hatman Strikes Back Daily Boxing News. Okay, so there's some talk of Canelo Alvarez potentially fighting Jake Paul. Some people are saying in May. Now, Jake Paul has been calling for this fight for many years. We all know that. The vast majority of us would expect Paul to get obliterated by Canelo Alvarez. But you can understand the appeal for Jake Paul, not just a massive payday, but it's a no-lose situation, right? Because he's not supposed to beat Canelo. It's supposed to not only be a Canelo win, but a one-sided Canelo win. So a win, without actually getting a win in the win column, for Jake Paul would simply be surviving a number of rounds. That would be seen as some type of moral victory. But from the Canelo side of things, this would be purely about money. There's nothing to be gained for Canelo with this fight as far as reputation. In fact, taking the fight in the eyes of many people, including myself, would damage Canelo's reputation. Yes, he's achieved so much, multi-weight world champion, undisputed at 168, so on and so forth, but this is not a situation where he'd be fighting Jake Paul after beating every challenge out there at 168 over the past few years. No, this would be a situation where since Canelo's defeat to Dimitri Bivol, he's gone back to cherry picking. He avoided David Benavidez. You could even argue he avoided David Morrell as well for at least a year. So Canelo would essentially be fighting someone like Jake Paul instead of the likes of Benavidez and Morrell, who've since moved up to 175. That's not a good look. And also fighting Jake Paul instead of a number of other contenders out there who would make mincemeat of Jake Paul. Although there isn't the kind of clamor to see Canelo fight those guys, people like Christian and Billy, Diego Pacheco, and so on, that there was for Canelo to fight David Benavidez. Be that as it may, yeah, Canelo versus Jake Paul would be a new low point as far as I'm concerned in Canelo's career. The most egregious example of cherry picking we will have ever seen. And again, to reiterate, Canelo's a great fighter. He went through a considerable period of his career where he was taking on tough challenges. But that was after a period earlier on in his career where he was cherry picking a lot. We all remember the Canelo weight, where he avoided Golovkin for a couple years, hiding behind a bespoke weight class which was created just for him. But after that, as I say, he went on the run of taking on real tough opposition. But since the Bivol defeat, it's like he's reverted back to what he was doing earlier on in his career. Cherry pick after cherry pick after cherry pick. And certainly the Jake Paul fight would be the biggest cherry pick of all. Now, a lot of people are going to dismiss the possibility of this fight. They'll say, nah, Canelo would never stoop that low. Well, Eddie Hearn knows Canelo. He worked with him for multiple fights in the past. He's been to the guy's house. He's partied with Canelo. He's spoken about that in interviews before. And he says he wouldn't be surprised if the fight actually does happen. He doesn't see Canelo turning his nose up at that fight if they offer him enough money. All I can say is I hope he's wrong. Because that would be a terrible look for boxing. This is not Jake Paul taking on a geriatric Mike Tyson. This is Jake Paul taking on an incumbent world champion, an elite fighter today. Yeah, he's smaller than Jake Paul, but the skill gap between them is absolutely vast. I'm just going to say it. Jake Paul has next to no chance against Canelo Alvarez. Yes, he's a big, strong, athletic guy, and he has some type of ability, but the ring craft that Canelo Alvarez has, the subtleties that a lot of casual fans miss, the experience he has and what have you, will make for a very easy victory for Canelo Alvarez. Very easy. It will simply be a matter of how long Jake Paul can last, not whether he can actually win. So anyway, give me your thoughts about this potential fight in the comment section below. Don't forget to like this video, share it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Are you surrounded by mindless bots in human form who adhere to the norm and blindly conform, who swallow all the mainstream BS and actually ridicule you for questioning things? Do you wish you had more free-thinking individuals in your life to network and converse with? Well, look no further. We're right here. Come and join the Brotherhood of Reason on Patreon. You'll gain access to my weekly topical content where we take deep dives on an endless variety of subjects, as well as my vast back catalogue of podcasts, videos, interviews, movie decodings, and my Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You'll also get to talk and network with myself and hundreds of other people in our members chat. You can enjoy all this via the Patreon app or on desktop and download all my podcasts in high quality MP3. There's no contract, no commitment. You can cancel at any time just like Netflix, but it's a hell of a lot cheaper. Just download the app from the Play Store or the App Store, or simply visit patreon.com on a web browser. Then head on over to my page and select the tier called the Brotherhood of Reason. All the links are in the description box below. And just a quick money-saving tip for Apple users. If you purchase your Patreon subscription on the desktop site or on Android, then you'll avoid the ridiculous 30% fee that Apple charges for purchases made on the iOS app. So if you're on iPhone or iPad, save yourself some money by buying your subscription on the actual Patreon website or on Android because it's a lot cheaper. Once you've made that initial purchase, you can then use the Patreon app on your iPhone or iPad thereafter to access and enjoy your content as normal.